Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Avini Vibes. Tonight is Thursday, March 7th, 2024. And if you just joined us, I just want to let you know we have two very special guests with us tonight, all the way from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Paul Stowers and Lisa are with us. But I just want you to know, I want you to pay attention closely because we're only going to have him for about 20 minutes because he's got to jump off and do another call at 8. But he was great. He was very gracious to joining us here tonight. But at Avini Vibes, we're here to educate, teach, encourage, learn from one another. And that's what Avini is about. It's a family that helps and supports one another on their health journey. So thank you for being with us. Remember, we make no medical claims. And as you know, we will be recording. If you have a question, raise your hand. We may not get to them when Paul's speaking tonight, but we'll put them in the chat and we'll certainly get the answers to your questions. So with that, I want to introduce you to our special guest. Paul grew up in West Michigan. His wife, Lisa, grew up in Green Bay. I wonder if she's a Green Bay fan. And as I said, they reside in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So welcome to our call. And we just want to hear about you and your story and your journey and how and why you wound up here with Avini. And thank you for being with us.
Well, thank you for having us. We basically our story is I've been in the industry since probably my early 20s in the direct sales industry. And my wife raised our kids while I, did all these crazy business ventures, and for over the years she always supported me behind the scenes, but never was really a part of what I did. And so 2.5 years ago, we were driving to South Florida to see our daughter's graduation from college, and I get because been in the industry and out of it, I get that famous opportunity phone call that maybe some of you have received over your lifetime. And I can still see my mom sitting in the back seat, my wife in the front seat, when they hear this phone call and they hear it's an opportunity call. They're just shaking their head like, no, not another deal, and that's the truth, right?
Yes.
Anyways, and frankly, having had some success in the industry, both in the corporate side and the field side and traditional business, it wasn't that I was totally like against it. It really didn't even, at that time in my life, I wasn't looking for that. But what the gentleman said about this product caught my attention. It kind of connected to my spirit when he started talking about what it would do for the body. And I said, well, that I'm interested in. And so he sent me a 5-minute video that Rick had done on the product. This was before Avini existed. This was just on this product. And I read one of the clinical studies. And the following week, I heard Doug Dickey, our vice president now, his testimony. And I said, well, I'm in for the product. And my wife my mom was kind of actually about the product, will kind of really pique their interest. And so we started taking the product. I started sharing the product because I believed in the science behind it with other people. But what was interesting is a few months earlier, I had my annual doctor checkup, and I had about 3 or 4 years worth of progressive health issues, concerns that were progressively getting more and more each year. I'd have more symptoms. And so before I heard about this, and at the time, even when I heard about this, I didn't connect the two. I didn't connect toxicity to that potentially being the causal effect of that. And I had a verbal diagnosis, and it wasn't necessarily a good one, but I can tell you that when I got on this product 90 days later, all of those symptoms that I had been experiencing for those 3 or 4 years that were progressively getting worse went away, and they haven't been back since. So obviously for me, the toxins in my body, the heavy metals, were causing problems. My wife had gotten on the product and fell in love with the product as well. And really that's how we kind of got involved. And so I'll let her kind of share, because for her, this was the first one that she was really excited about because of the product.
Let me share.
Yeah.
Welcome, Lisa.
I would say, well, I don't know. Some of you know, I actually used all of the products to do a competition this last year. I've been a personal trainer for quite a few years. And I had some issues, IBS type issues after my second competition when I was 42, that I was having issues with. And between all of the fiber and using everything that we offer, that corrected my IBS problems. And it also corrected the other thing that it did for my competition is this allows my muscles to recover, because if you're getting rid of heavy metals and toxins, your muscles can recover quicker. So even though I was older, I was able to develop muscle faster and not I was able to lose fat, gain muscle, and not lose muscle, which was really amazing, honestly, for this third time around, and I'm older, going through menopause. So I would say our products are literally mind-blowing amazing for anybody that's an athlete, because we have an electrolyte, we have the mushrooms, right, to help our body stay healthy and strong. And I barely actually ever had to use the what am I thinking of, the cobra venom.
The plus relief.
The plus relief. Cobra venom. And I didn't have to use that hardly at all, because all of the other products I was using so much that it just kept me just functioning so well, not even having joint issues, which was really amazing. Especially doing as much lifting as I was doing, and I wasn't nearly as sore as I used to be. So I don't know. I guess that's my
and with the fact that we fell in love, and we only had Cell Defender at the time, really, when the company that Rick was selling this through went away, both my wife and I looked at each other, and even though we had been making some money with that company, we weren't like overly distraught about it. We were just more distraught, like, how do we continue to get this product? And so we followed that to the next company. And 6 months later, that company no longer is there. And then eventually, because out of the need for Avini to exist, so we can have access to the product, Avini was given birth in the spring of 2022. So that's really kind of what, so our story is we followed this product. We followed something that we believed in and realized the benefits for ourselves, but also saw the benefits in other people. And I tell people, opportunities from a business perspective are very simple. It's all about problem solution. The bigger the problem, the bigger the opportunity if you have the right solution. And so really all we're doing in the marketplace is elevating or bringing light to the problem. I think, that's what I share with people all the time, is that no one will care about your solution unless they believe there's a problem. And so a lot of us want to talk about the solution and talk about the company and talk about these wonderful products. I take more of the approach, there's no reason to tell you about that unless you are on the same page with me that there's a real problem. And I believe it's of epidemic proportion. I believe that the undercurrent in my 2.5 years, and I come from a lay background, I'm not a doctor, I don't have any medical training, certainly around nutritional supplements over the years, and believe in them. But I really believe in the research that I've done, and I think it's very anybody can do the research, is that the undercurrent of major sickness and disease that no one's really talking about at a level that they should be is the heavy metals, the toxins, the environment, the foods, the air, and all the things that we're bioaccumulating, creating havoc in our bodies. And I think that is the number one discussion that you can have with anybody. You can have with a complete stranger, you can have with your best friend, not even with the intent of trying to sell them a product. And And so I think the other key factor for me was over the years in my other business opportunities that I've done, and I had successes and certainly my failures, but was I sold the opportunity, I sold timing and positioning and you know, get in now and you're gonna, you know, we're gonna, you know, and then, oh, by the way, here's my product. What I found that has worked for me, and it's just maybe the hand of providence and such for such a time as this, but I found something that number one, will forever take. I believe in it with all my heart that this, number one, helped me. I believe, and I believe everybody should take it, and for obvious reasons. And number two, Lisa and I, my wife, we would share this product and these products now with Avini Health, Cell Defender, and others, whether we got paid to share them or not. Because I believe we have a responsibility to our family, our friends, our coworkers, people who we come in contact with, to make them aware of something that can provide a you know, health that they've never maybe experienced, or maybe they're dealing with issues. And so to me, that's, you know, the money, of course, is a byproduct. The financial reward is a great benefit, because certainly, you know, Lisa and I get to do this full time now, and we get to have these conversations all day long. And so obviously that's really awesome, right? To be able to pay your bills every month, and just get to do more of what you were passionate about already. But that's a byproduct of the fact that I would take it myself and I'd share it even if I didn't get paid to share it. And
I
and
like
that's
what you just I
yeah.
like what you just said. It's all about that very thing, you know. What when we first started doing these calls here at Avini Vibes, people said, "Do you have to be sick?" We said, "No, this is prevention." Well, how do you speak to that, right? This is all about prevention. Let's, for
Well,
sure,
well,
like you said.
yeah, that's exactly right. This is, you know, the best testimony is the one that you never have to give.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, the question is, and again, this comes back to, do you believe that there's a health crisis of epidemic proportion of toxicity and heavy metals in the environment at such a level that someday you and I and my family members and people close to us are going to have a problem with that? And that's really the foundational truth that people have to grab a hold of. If they grab a hold of that, everything else will take care of itself. Because we have the solution for that, right? We have the solution for the pollution in your body. And we've seen it work. We've seen it hundreds and thousands of stories. And so, and, you know, scientific research behind it, backing and all that kind of stuff. But again, it's about prevention. And I think the challenge with human nature is that humans don't like to pay for things that are preventative. Humans are reactive in nature, right? We don't deal with a problem until we have a problem, right? It's just like, it's why people don't buy life insurance, quite frankly. You know, I don't like to spend money on something I don't want to think about and hopefully never have to use. So I don't buy it. I just put it off until it's too late. You know, if eating a cheeseburger every day caused a heart attack or coronary artery disease, 2 weeks after you start eating cheeseburgers, how many cheeseburgers would be sold? You know, the problem is that it takes 10, 20, 30 years for damage to be done in the body to a level that I can't see, right? I can't see the arteries in my body getting clogged because of the fatty foods and all the things I'm eating. So when do I deal with it? I deal with it when I'm, you know, in the back of an ambulance having a heart attack, right? I deal with the crisis, right? That's human nature. Because it's like the frog in a pot of water where we're slowly getting, you know, the heat's being turned up and eventually we're cooked, and hopefully it's not too late for people. But I think that's why, again, I come back to this, and it's my mantra. People will only care about this solution if they truly believe there's a problem. And that's where you have to live. You have to live in the problem long enough for them to agree with, you know. And I think there's three types of people. At least I've come across three types of people. I've come across people that as soon as I start talking about the problem, they start nodding their head, right? They just immediately get it. and they're on board. That might be 5-10% of the population are people that I talk to. I think there's a big segment, which is the masses, that just don't connect. They're not connecting the dots. But if they did connect the dots, they'd be interested in a solution. So your job is to help connect the dots. Your job is to help them, that group, that big segment, to understand. And this is where I tell people, I say, look, if you don't believe me that there's a problem, go to Google and type in any sickness and disease you don't want to have, and type in heavy metal toxicity next to it, and just see what comes up. See the connection. You do their own research. It's all there. It's not being hidden from us. But I think, people hear, about that train derailment in Ohio, and they hear about the dioxin going up in the air. And of course, that must be really bad for them. They don't connect the dots. It could be bad for you if you live downstream in the wind, right, that you're breathing.
Okay, so I want to speak to that a minute. So I live 3 hours from there. I have one of my best friends move there 2 weeks before the train flipped over. Okay. About 2 weeks after that happened, we're driving out of work, New York, and I look up and there's this cloud. I took a picture of it. It's this orange cloud that's covering. It's 100 square miles where we live. I'm telling you, it covered the whole thing. And I have a picture of it to prove it. It was almost so eerie. It was so eerie. And we're downwind to it. Yep.
Yeah. So you hear about it on the news, but how does that affect me? Well, it does affects all of us. It gets up in the jet stream and travels all around the world. So these things affect us, it's just that we have to help connect the dots. And when we do that, then they're ready for the solution, right? Then they're ready at that point. And now I'm ready to be proactive. Even though I may not notice today that I have any issues, I recognize the fact that I will someday. I mean, think of this. Cancer rates 30 plus years ago were 1 in 8. Today, it's a flip of the coin. What's changed? I mean, I'm 54 years old. Why is all of a sudden we see a dramatic rise in this over the years? Now, we live through these things because we have the healthcare system that keeps us going, or sick care, however you want to call it. But the reality is that what's driving that? What's the underlying causes? Why is it that young children, I mean, again, being 54, having kids, having grandkids, why do we see younger and younger children have health issues that they shouldn't be dealing with when they're 3 and 5 and 8 and 10 years old? What's causing that? Here's a great report. This was a body burden. It was a clinical study it was a study done on umbilical cords, and found over 280. This is 2005. Found over 287 heavy metals and toxins being passed from the mother to the child through the umbilical cord. And the child themselves, they found over 200 heavy metals and toxins in these children, newborns. It's no wonder that they, these young infants are already starting off, in a bad position. So we know what the problem is. We just have to elevate that problem. And that's all I've done and we've done in the last 2.5 years, is just really get the word out and connect with people. And then, by the way, the last category is the third group of people that you'll run into just don't care. So, and that group of people, there's not anything you could say, do, whatever. You just, hey, God bless you. How about those Packers, and you move on. So, but again, the first group will identify right away. Those are the easy ones. Then that next group, which is a big segment of the population, that's the group that we really want to go after and really elevate. And the mission and crusade we're on is that right there. And so that's our story. That's how, how it all began. And here we are almost 2 years later, and it's just kind of surreal what it's turned into, but we feel very blessed to be in the position that we are to help more people. So,
well, I know that you have to jump on another call, but appreciate it so very much. And like you said, we're all can be victims of this. There's no getting around. I was in the grocery store today, and You always go to the organic section, but I was fortunate to have Doug Dickey visiting here in New York for 2 days. And I learned a lot about, I mean, I'm an agriculture person. I'm an animal science major, right? But I learned a lot about like those vegetables. I can't wash it off anymore. I live in the onion capital of the world, Pine Island, New York. I can't wash it off anymore. I can smell it in the air. But I thank you, Paul and Lisa, because you're bringing so much wisdom to our group and bringing that awareness. And I think you said we're on a crusade to help people, and hopefully they're in that first category, number one, where they do recognize the problem. But I appreciate that you guys have stepped up as leaders in Avini and sharing the solution, not only bringing attention to the problem, but sharing the solution.
Yeah, well, thank you
very
for
much.
inviting us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll see you in Las Vegas.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, we'll
see you
look
there.
forward to meeting you.
Yep.
Yes, it'll be good. Thanks.
All right. Talk to y'all later.
Guys, I know you got to jump on another call. God bless you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you, Paul.
All right. So where's Dr. Chip?
There he is.
Well,
Dr. Chip.
so
I call Dr. Chip. He's part of our my husband's team here.
Yeah. So this is what you guys just saw. Paul is one of the top business minds in the industry. He is the third highest ranking distributor in Avini.
Wow.
He's a Avini Diamond executive and very close to being a white diamond. You just saw him walk in through the product door, which he has never done in his entire career, nor has he ever walked in through any door with his competition-ready bodybuilder wife by his side saying, "I bless you, sir, keep going." It's always been, even though, they raised their children, their marriage, their homes, their children through this industry. Same for me. This is the first time that she's been beside him in the endeavor.
Oh, wow.
And so you think about, a career or a profession, and then you hit this moment. And then I was watching, just because of the way things are set up on my screen here, I'm watching Cheryl and Carol and Christine, Inika and Hannah all nodding their approval to what they were saying. And well, that's a pretty good indication that he's onto something where people are understanding that this is a threat, that it is important, that it's something we didn't have a way to deal with before, and now suddenly we do. And the realization that you can do this instead of some other kind of work. You just watched him working, and he prepared this week a really great presentation about the way that we get paid, and he'll be presenting that next Wednesday on Marcy's business training. So next Wednesday evening, Paul will be presenting his new, and he did a trial run yesterday. He also did a overview, and I sent that to Carol and Christine, that Tony and I did, put words to his overview, to his slides. Great organizer. He has been on the corporate side. He's been on the business side of these companies, and so he knows what to look for, right? If there were red flags going up, he wouldn't be here. But interesting, what brought him to us was that he had health concerns of his own, and heard something in that first presentation, thought, wonder if that'd work for me, and it did, and here we go. So there's an old deal. I'm learning how to play golf this winter, and there's a deal: let the club do the work. You ever hear something like that? Well, here we can let the product do the work. The product is not going to let you down. If it goes to someone, it will certainly win their hearts. Usually it's a direct route. Sometimes something weird happens, before the good stuff happens. But we always just encourage people, believe me, you're onto something very important. Work through it. What's on the other side is worth getting to. So those are some quick thoughts. Where do you guys want to take the discussion? What did you hear? I mean, I happen to know him really well. I met him at the very first, really when we were first creating Avini. There was a company that we worked before that with Rick's products that there were bureaucracy troubles, but probably one of the coolest things that Paul Stowers ever got to do was he was just happened to be sitting in the room and didn't stand up and leave. The very first Avini scientific advisory board meeting we ever had, Paul was in the room and he just held his ground. He didn't stand up and walk out. So he got to be in the very first Avini scientific advisory board meeting. So if I had a chance to ask him something to relay to you guys, that's my favorite question to ask him, to let you know more about him. And his observations of what he saw in that room are pretty cool. And I like, I want you guys to get that secondhand. He basically said, I was sitting there with a brain trust like I'd never been around before.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he shared that he followed the product. Like the product is what drove him. And then, of course, the Avini family, but the product, he followed the product. And that's, I'm an enthusiast about the product. So I loved that he shared that. Yeah.
He's capable of coming in the business store. He's made a career of that.
Yeah.
He understands, the way you create an income doing this, the way you raise a family, the way you put kids through college doing this kind of work. And yet here, he sees that the door that's most wide open is what he can do for people.
Yes.
And he told you straight out, he said, I'm a layman. I'm not some kind of doctor, healthcare expert. Wife is probably more than he is, but this is what I saw and this is what happened to me.
Well, what's amazing is that the other night on the corporate call, we had a great corporate call the other night. There were over 200 people, I think 236 people. And, Chip, I told you this today. I've heard Rick speak. I've been with the company for over a year now, almost 14 months now. But I heard Rick speak, but something really spoke to me. Now, Rick's been doing this a long time. He's been doing this for many, many years as the category creator. And I've heard that term, but something really resonated with me because of his cancer background, the research that he did as a scientist. And he said, I worked in the labs with the mice and the rats, but I didn't ever get a chance to talk to the end user because he's dealing with cancer treatment. And now here he is all these years later as the expert in the field. But I love the story when he told about after he did his duty at the university studying, come home and he was using his wife's pots and he's trying to figure out how to clean the zeolite. I'm trying to figure out how to micronize this and take those, to categorize those particular words also. Like I knew he's an expert. I've spoke to him on the phone. I've heard him, but it was just so much more to hear that of him in his own kitchen with his wife's pots, but his dedication to get the zeolite as clean as it is, and why Avini's zeolite is the best on earth, So now we have a scientist like a Rick Deitch, a biochemist, and a Neil Roth from West Point. Look, I'm always proud of people from West Point. And then a fella that, as in this field, I've been in this type of business for many years myself, very successful years ago, but to hear Paul, because he's so, like you said, he's the business side of it, but he's the product. Like, what a beautiful balance. What a balance. Like, where do you get those two things together? And then we can come on a call with our CEO and our you and somebody like Paul and his wife Lisa. So I just find it such a gift to be here tonight with all of you and to be a part of this so early on. Although it's not early because of the hundreds of thousands of dollars that Rick and his wife put forth personally to figure out the process. of cleaning a zeolite, to micronize it, to be the best in the world, to be the best on the planet Earth. Bill's
fun to
giving
hear,
me thumbs
fun
up.
to hear, Christine. So you know, I know, you know, who's on with us today, and I know a lot of you are coaches and teachers. And just popped up on my screen a Facebook thing from one of my buddies that's coaching me in golf, and he had a colon resection this morning. He was a UH-1 helicopter pilot in Vietnam, shot down twice, brilliant, created helicopter rescue deals for hospitals in the United States as a business, and amazing guy. That, I mean, that's who I'm looking at here. So coaches and teachers, and what I wanted to verify Christine's point, and I talked about, you know, going 10 years to a coach down in Florida to learn to water ski. And I remember thinking, he tells me 10 times, I hear him twice and do it once. You know, you have to keep going over it and over it. And Christine hit the point where she heard it twice, and you just heard her do it once. She's got it now. You see, do you feel, I mean, you guys have been around her this whole time, right? You see the difference? She's got it now. She knows what she's got.
Yeah.
The same thing for all of us.
Yeah.
There it is.
You know, in that coaching and teaching.
Yep.
And so you are the perfect people to move this forward. Of all the topics, languages, I mean, and we are creating language. Anika's language, you know, multiple language instructor. We are creating the language, the words, that topic, you know, category creator. I wrote a paper not long after I first met him. Category creator, new category of nutritionals, and I named it takeout, a play on the words for takeout, and now you'll hear that in other places in the industry where people claim to be a category creator of something. As far as I know, Rick was the very first category creator of anything recognized as that, and I wrote the paper. And we are creating those words right now as we go.
Yeah.
That's how early you are.
That's right. Look, there's only 20 something people on this call, 22. And I told my husband tonight, he keeps saying to me, where are you going? You going back in that room? I said, you bet. I said, in 2 years from now, there'll be 2,000 people on this call. Started out with Carol and I and Wright and Chip. And look, and Bill and Hannah and new people every week. Priscilla just joining us. It's really such a blessing. Madeline is new. Where is she? I saw her pop in tonight. Madeline, welcome. Oh, Bill gives us a heart. Bill will be in Las Vegas too. I know. Yeah. Any questions or comments? You can ask Chip anything, or please feel free if you have a question or you want to share a testimonial. Where's Jody? Is Jody with us tonight? I saw her earlier.
I saw her earlier.
Jody's testimony. Powerful. She must have had to jump off, but
Yeah, I'm not seeing her now.
yeah, she must have had to jump off, but yeah, feel free if you want to
Bill has his hand up.
Oh, go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, it's just a comment, just a comment. It's just so great to see, everybody here, and it's great. I'm terrible on names. What was it, Paul Stover?
Stower.
Stower. I don't do names. It's just so great, to see him come in basically the ground floor, and then just, blossom and bloom, and now he's going to be a white diamond, I think you mentioned. It's just amazing. It's just so great, like rags to riches type of thing,
Chip, how many distributors do we have in Avini now? Do you know?
Neil said yesterday on his call that he expects by the time we go to Las Vegas, we should be nearing 9,000. So
yeah, that's what I heard. 9,000.
Right around 8,000 distributors at this point. So we're just we're just starting to get some momentum. But the nice thing about that number is, it pretty much is victory assured. It tells you that people are joining, it's growing, the company is healthy, he's brilliant as a businessman, and we're in great shape financially. We're able to introduce new programs, we're able to host large events, pay, charge 100 and some bucks for something that cost us 500 bucks a person, just enough to commit people to actually show up, not to say they're going to and then not. So we buy the meals and then they're not there. That's the main reason for the charge.
Yeah. We are such
the
babies.
End of April in Las Vegas.
Yeah, we are such babies in this industry right now. We're at the very beginning of this. Really, it's incredible.
And yet you can see you're surrounded people like Carol, brilliant, mature people as far as their careers go, maybe at a point where they could have said, okay, I'm pretty happy, I'm going to back off now, I've done what I came to do. And all of a sudden they see something that merits, you look at who's with you here. To merit the effort, the extended careers of these people.
Chip, it has to
be a pretty big deal.
I was talking to Jamie Brown, and I was telling her, and Ingrid, my guest tonight, I was telling them, I support entrepreneurs to thrive through my program, but if you don't have your health, you can't even focus on a business or being an entrepreneur. So you have to have your health first. So when Avini was introduced to me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely amazing that I have something that can support people to be healthy and then have them be thriving as entrepreneurs. I love that.
So you're listening to the Entrepreneur of the Year, recognized as the Entrepreneur of the Year in Florida.
Yeah, for St. Petersburg. Yeah.
There she is. There she is, and she's here.
Yeah.
I call Carol the enrollment queen. I don't want to hear about YEA. Well, I just finished YEA. I don't want to coach. I'll be coaching in May. I'm not interested in this cell defender thing. Well, I've been using it for 8 months. I call Carol the enrollment queen.
She's pretty irresistible. She's pretty irresistible, isn't she, Bill?
Yes, I finally gave up. I gave in.
Yeah, persistence is her middle name for sure. But you know what? She's right. So you got to listen to her. So I was calling Carol for months and she wasn't picking up. And I was like, we know each other, God, long time. We've done a lot of stuff together. And I was calling her for months and I wasn't hearing back from her. And finally, somebody called me from her phone to tell me what had happened to her. And all I wanted to know that she was well and she was okay. And she says, no, she's not well right now. She can't answer your phone. She can't talk to you. I'm taking all of her calls. And here she is. And she looks younger than ever. She's spraying that nano silver on her face and she's getting younger every time we come on this call. So it's amazing. So, that's what it's about. And my friend's not with us tonight, Eddie Kowalski, who shared it with me and shared it with Alan. That's what it's about. We just share it and share it and share it. But we're really fortunate. I love what he said. If you're a new distributor or you're an old distributor, or you're a young person or an old person, I want you to really hear what our guest tonight. I did put out an email and I did say Paul Stowers, but I put out the correction, I promise. So I don't know if you pronounced the T or not, but I always heard Paul Stowers, but he and his wife, Lisa, were really, as Chip said, sweet guests to come tonight. Everyone needs a mentor. Everybody needs to hold on to a coattail. We can hold on to one another's coattails, okay? What I loved about my conversation with him yesterday is I listened to that recording that Chip said that he did as a test with another diamond that just rose to the top. I listened to that preview that you did, and oh my gosh, it just blessed my heart because that's the message that we need to share. And I really ask you to go into learn your tools, learn your back office, learn the things that other companies, they don't just give them to you. You got to pay for them. We have the resources, the education, the tools, anything imaginable that you need. You don't need to have the answers. All you have to do is be the person to be the switchboard. My mother was born in 1914. She was the switchboard operator for Ma Bell way back then. And that's all we do is we connect the switchboard, connect the people that are needing our help. Okay. So I want to leave you with that. What do we have? A couple more minutes?
Yeah.
Anybody else want to jump in?
We have about 5 minutes.
Yep. And then we'll let you go.
Know, Carol, you opened up something, but what was your story? What was your story?
All right. So last year in January, I had surgery and I had bad cells on my shoulder, and they did the first surgery and didn't get everything. So I had a second surgery, and I can't take pain pills whatsoever. So I was in so much pain and was not eating, was not sleeping. And I had 2 courses I was facing. I had a North America YEA course in May and one in Africa. And I was like saying to myself, I can't do this. I'm too sick. I'm too old. I can't do this. I can't be the one any longer. And Christine was very insistent in talking with me. And when she did, she said, Carol, I don't know what this is going to do for you, but I know it's going to do something for you. And she introduced me to Plus Relief and also Cell Defender. And in 4 days, guys, 4 days of doing the Marcy dose, 4 days, I was running up and down the stairs again. I was eating, I was sleeping, I was not in the pain that I was screaming into my pillow at night in. And I said, oh my gosh, what is this? And within a month, I said, I'm 69. I do not need another business. I've run 4 already. And I got in. And I am so thrilled and so happy. And guys, I'm the healthiest I've been in a long time. So that's my testimony.
It's a beautiful story. Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful story. And Carol, I appreciate that you were, willing, you were open, and that you're well and you're here. And thank you, Carol, for always doing all the tech stuff with this. And, couldn't do it without you. So I appreciate it. Chip, do you want to give us a shout out for our close tonight? Because we got about 2 minutes.
Well, this might be a strange thing to highlight, but it's something that you guys do like I've never seen before. When I was in a company before and we would have live presentations, we'd always tell the people that were members, when you come, don't get bored and lean back in your chair and, slump and stuff like that. Sit on the front fourth of your chair, look at the speaker, smile and bob your head, yes. And this group, I mean, you talk about fun people to talk to, because it's obvious that you're just, you're wanting the information, you're just soaking up every bit of it. And then I can see your own thoughts forming in your head. And then when they come out, like when Carol just spoke and Christine and Anika last week, and when Hannah, speaks, and Bill speaks, and I don't know who else has spoken that's on the call here today, but each of you, Alan Way that I get to talk to, and Novella and Dr. Nikita, I mean, the people, I'm just trying to look at the ones that I know that are here. Everybody is an effective presenter already. I mean, really, really good. And so I see that in you, and I recognize it in you, and I love to be here. I know it's a real special call for Kyle and Ed. I don't know why they can't be here tonight, but people come here because I don't know. It's just it's special. You can tell this is something special starting on this Zoom right here.
Amen. Thank you, Chip. I appreciate it very, very much. So
it's called community. Community.
There you go. All right. So everybody get on that call Wednesday night, right? Wednesday, Marcy's call. Chip.
Correct. And you'll hear Paul go through the compensation plan. He's such a great organizer, and he has prepared something that anybody else can use, kind of similar to what he did for a business overview, but this one is focused on creating income. And somebody said, I'm not really inspired much by money. That's not what I'm after. But on the other hand, being broke, that's inspiring. I thought that kind of cut through that topic.
There you go.
That did inspire me. Okay, I admit that. That did inspire me.
We can do a lot of good when we have it to help others, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes,
let's
exactly.
leave it with that. All right,
and there's quite a few people here that have solved the money thing a long time ago that are here doing this. I mean, seriously, people that have no need for money, and but something in their soul, is being fed by doing this with us.
Amen.
Yep, that's it.
All right, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great night. We'll see you Wednesday night on Marcy's Call. If you don't know how to find it, it's in the Google Drive in the shared document. And pull up that Google Drive and see all the resources there. Listen to one every day. It'll just really blow your mind when you start to hear all the testimonials, over 1,500, I believe. Oof. So we'll see you next week, okay? God bless.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Good night, all. Thank you, Chip.
The presentation next week, okay?
Christine, Carol.
Bye.
Good night. Good night, Alan. Good night, Bill.
It's been
Bye,
real.
everyone. Thank you, Chip. Good night.